Electricity is a necessary factor in our world today. Everything you can think of in our modern world requires electricity one way or another. Every facility, right from hospitals to schools, government houses, institutions, and even tools, require electricity to function. Even unique cars are being made, and guess how they're powered? Electricity. In light of this, more of it has to be produced for the world to operate well and for better innovations to come through and, in turn, make our world a better place. The generation of electricity is done in two ways, which can be through natural factors or man-made factors, and what we'll be looking at and learning about today is one of them, the wind turbine. What purposes do these wind turbines serve, how do they work, and what problems do they solve in our world today? Join us as we explore the breakthrough tech that has helped to solve wind turbines' biggest problems. The wind turbine is a powerful machine that uses the wind, a natural factor, to generate electricity. The wind turbine transforms the kinetic energy in the wind into electrical energy. This is done by using the turbine or wind conversion systems to create electrical energy from the wind while it's in a circular motion. The wind hits the turbine's blades, therefore causing the blades of the turbine to rotate and then turn the turbine connected to them. This process changes the kinetic energy into another rotational energy by moving the shaft, connected to a generator, and in the process, creating electrical energy through the process of electromagnetism. The size of power that can be gotten from wind largely depends on the size of the wind turbine with the length of its blades. This output is equivalent to the cube of the wind speed and the rotor's dimensions. This means that when the speed of the wind doubles, the wind power's potential likely increases by a factor of 8. The wind as a form of solar energy is caused due to three simultaneous events, and they are the sun heating the atmosphere unevenly, abnormality on the Earth's surface, and the Earth's rotation. These turbines also operate based on a simple rule. Instead of using the means of electricity to create wind with its blades like a fan, the turbines use the wind's energy to produce energy instead. While the wind turns the propeller-shaped blades of the turbine around a rotor, it spins the generator which is attached to the turbine and in turn creates electricity. Wind turbines have been in use for over a century. After the invention of the electric generator in the 1830s, engineers began to look into the process of harnessing energy from the wind and converting the energy into electricity. Although the generation of wind power took place first in the United Kingdom and the United States in 1887 and 1888 respectively, modern wind power is said to have been created first in Denmark, where the horizontal axis wind turbines were built in the year 1891. However, the wind turbine operation, which was 22.8 meters in length, didn't start until 1897. Thousands of large turbines, if not more, are primarily known as wind farms, and many of them are installed and linked to an electricity transmission network. These rows of wind turbines can produce more than 650 gigawatts of power, with an additional 60 gigawatts added as each year passes and as long as they keep generating electricity. Wind turbines are also regarded as an essential means of generating electricity and renewable energy. This spectacular invention has proved to be so helpful that it's being used in many countries to lower the ever-increasing energy cost. Compared to the burning of fossil fuels, it shows that wind energy is more reliable and has a minor impact on the environment around us in our world. It is also preferred because, as renewable energy, the wind is constantly replenished by nature, depending on the times and seasons of the year. This enables humans to keep harnessing the energy from the wind without any fear of it running out or stopping. Further research and studies on wind energy claimed that as of the year 2009, wind energy possessed the lowest relative greenhouse gas emissions, the least water consumption demands, and the most favorable social impacts when it was compared to hydro, coal, gas, geothermal, and even the photovoltaic sources of energy. Several countries, such as Australia, have even proudly embraced the brilliant technology and have made wind turbines a large part of the country's portfolio of renewable energy. And according to the Geoscience Department in Australia, the wind energy industry is the fastest growing source of renewable energy in a lot of countries, and it's expected to multiply over the period to the year 2030. In 2020, research showed that onshore wind electricity generation has increased by 144 terawatt-hours, plus 11%. Also, the capacity addition increased by an unexpected 108 gigawatts, doubled compared to the stats in 2019, which mainly owes to a commissioning rush in the United States and China respectively, which are both considered for approximately 79% of global wind deployment. Generation growth of offshore wind also totaled to 25 terawatt-hours, plus 29% in 2020, with the capacity additions of 6 gigawatts, the same stats as in 2019. After reviewing all the stats, over 1,592 terawatt-hours of electricity was generated from wind installations in 2020, which is 12% more than in 2019. In order to achieve the required 8,000 terawatt-hours by 2030 under the net zero emissions, by the year 2050, electricity generation must have increased by a percentage of 18% per year along the course of 2021 to 2030. It is also paramount to increase annual capacity additions to 80 gigawatts of offshore wind and 310 gigawatts of onshore wind. A lot of effort needs to be put into achieving this feat of sustained capacity growth. The most critical stages for improvement are more technological improvements for the offshore wind with cost reductions, alongside permitting facilitation for the onshore wind. The electricity generation by wind in 2020 increased by 170 terawatt-hours, 11%, which was similar to the growth in 2019 and the highest of all the technologies in power generation in 2020. The wind continues to remain the first renewable technology that is non-hydro, generating a total of 1,592 terawatt-hours, as much as the other technologies combined. Wind turbines can either be built on land or offshore in vast waters such as lakes, rivers, and oceans. With this innovation, the United States Department of Energy is looking into the facilitation of offshore wind deployment in U.S. waters, and they're currently funding projects to that effect. The wind turbines in use currently are two types: horizontal axis turbines and vertical axis turbines. When you try to imagine what a turbine looks like, what comes to your mind? Well, I'll tell you, horizontal axis turbines mostly have 3 blades, with the turbine twirling at the top of the tower so that the blades face into the wind. They operate upwind. Vertical axis turbines, on the other hand, were invented by George Darius. These types of turbines are manufactured in different varieties, including the egg-beater-style Darius model, named after its inventor. They do not need to be pointed into the wind to operate. There are also wind turbines that are used for more minor purposes, such as battery charging for auxiliary power in boats and caravans, and to also power traffic warning signs. Although horizontal and vertical axis turbines are the most common types of turbines, the newly discovered breakthrough technology is set to change all that. Invented by Hydro Wind Energy, the Ocean Hydro Omni is one you would be marveled to see. Its functions and operations aren't like the other horizontal and vertical axis turbines because it harnesses more of the wind's resources up to an alarming rate of 40 meters per second. And that's not all. This spectacular turbine doesn't produce electricity directly, unlike other turbines. Instead, it utilizes the wind in lifting heavy mass, and when energy is required, the weight it gathers is then dropped and in turn powers the generator. And its uniqueness doesn't just stop there. Due to no attachment of any generators or delicate electronics, the turbine has the capacity to lift the weights faster or slower, depending on the highs and lows of the wind. Wind turbines have been highly effective since they've been in use. Still, the turbines tend to face some challenges as they generate electricity. In addition to this breakthrough technology, others have been put in place to solve the problem of these wind turbines. Despite the cost, wind power has reduced drastically in the past years. Wind projects must still be able to compete even with the lowest source of electricity at a reduced cost, and some of the locations do not have enough wind to be cost competitive. Wind turbines are often built in remote places such as open fields and big farms that are out of town and far away from the city for which the turbine is supposed to produce electricity. Therefore, transmission lines have to be built in order to bring the electricity from the location of the wind turbine into the city. However, this challenge can be resolved by building a couple of already proposed transmission lines and can significantly make a difference in reducing the cost of expanding wind energy. Another challenge it faces is that the land suitable for the wind turbine installation has to compete with other options in which the land can be used, and this could be of more value and a higher use than the generation of electricity. Turbines that might cause noise and aesthetic pollution in the environment around it. Even though the plants where wind turbines are usually built do not always impact their environment, it can be a significant concern if some faults come from the turbines. For example, the noise produced by the blades of the turbine can cause noise to residents living around the plant. This shows that even natural means of producing energy have their downside. However, as the world of science, engineering, and energy production continue to evolve, other means of improving and perfecting wind turbines will be created. But for now, let us enjoy the groundbreaking stride this technology has given us towards producing cleaner and more natural energy. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.